All right, so people have been coming up to me all freaking week in regards to what do you think about Donald Sterling? What do you think about Donald Sterling? And yo, straight up, I'm telling you, man, I actually have some feelings that go against what black people, quote, what black people are normally saying about this. Like, yo, he's racist. Don't get me wrong, he is racist, but I'm just like, let me refer you to Boondocks Season 2, Episode 3. No snitches. No snitches. I'm having a problem with this thing because it's like, yo, she got this. She snitched on him, man. Oh my God, it was completely on the head. I felt like, I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad for how he got. That's how I honestly, for real, like I feel bad about that part of it. You know, so anyway, how do you feel? What's been going on in your mind for this week?
I don't feel bad for him at all, in the slightest, not 1 ounce of bit.
I feel bad. I'm telling you, I do. Genuinely, I feel bad.
Okay, the issue with this entire Donald Sterling thing is threefold. One, you have the problem or the issue with the tapes, which is what you have sort of an issue with what you're describing is.
Right.
And yeah, that's a private conversation. That should have stayed a private conversation. I would prefer
a side chick will burn you down. That's what we found out.
And
a side chick will burn you down, son. But anyway, go ahead.
That is the only thing we need to take in terms of that part of this conversation. Number 2, we have the issue with Donald Sterling, who is a proclaimed discriminatory, racist, xenophobic, homophobic, everything phobic person who owns the Los Angeles Clippers, right?
Yes.
It is documented for the past 10 years there have been lawsuits on top of lawsuits in terms of housing discrimination that we are aware of, right?
Yeah,
Bomani Jones does some excellent work in terms of covering these types of discriminatory practices, and the things that he says about black people attract rodents is absolutely ridiculous, right? So
I didn't even know that.
So there's an issue with him actually being able to own the team. But the NBA is a private organization. I am wearing NBA attire right now. This is a private organization that I consume, I watch, I allow the advertising space to enter my mental capacity, and perhaps I might buy some Taco Bell or T-Mobile or Kia, whatever it may be. But the third issue that I think we really need to be talking about, that we're missing the point, is the idea of the reactions, right? We have people who are saying we should boycott. We should not boycott. And so this entire conversation about what is boycotting never seems to come up. The only thing that black people seem to have understand in terms of the discourse of this whole Donald Sterling thing is this boycotting of the Montgomery bus boycotts. Yep. And that is completely not what is going on. Mm-hmm. When this whole story broke, I did not consume any NBA, and I plan not to watch any games, not wear my Oklahoma City Thunder hat, not drink out of my Oklahoma City Thunder mug, not wear any of my 3 or 4 t-shirts, right? I actively consume the NBA. So a person like me not watching the NBA is a huge deal. I buy a t-shirt whenever we make the playoffs. Right. I am a consumer. I choose not to consume any of the products. Furthermore, I was choosing to look up the advertisers and not participate in any way, right? State Farm, Red Bull, Kia, CarMax, all of these people.
Right.
And so it is not necessarily about boycotting, it is just about consumer activism.
Okay.
And one of the biggest problems that got lost in this whole conversation was, should we boycott, should we not boycott? Donald Sterling means absolutely nothing to me. Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, he signs their check. That might mean something to them. But for me, in terms of boycott, that is called organization. We need to have conversations about boycott. We need to organize about boycott. We need to say, hey, let's put the pressure on the entire NBA, because just boycotting the Clippers means absolutely nothing when there's revenue sharing. And we need to have those conversations together. I was extremely disappointed with the amount of people who would say we shouldn't boycott because it hurts the workers or it hurts the players. Or it has absolutely nothing to do with that. The fact that we can't even recognize the activism that we have as consumers is one of the biggest problems. The final thing that people were talking about is it's just basketball. It doesn't matter. The problem with that is popular culture is the theater by which we play out our actual lives. Yeah. And so granted, I really don't care about Donald Sterling as an owner. I'm much more interested in seeking social justice for the tenants that he discriminated against. Absolutely. But if we cannot take a stand and say, hey, I'm not going to watch ball until you get this guy out of here. Y'all are a private company. Do whatever y'all got to do. I'm a private citizen and a consumer. I'm not going to do this until it happens. If we can't even have that, how can we even talk about about social change in terms of gender roles and gender equality,
right.
racial equality, when it really matters, if we can't even critique what's on the screen.
You know what? When I was thinking about all of this, the part that I was really upset about is like, don't get me wrong. Look, I am upset that Donald Sterling is the owner and he's racist as hell of the Los Angeles Clippers. I get that. But when I started like looking at the story, I was so much more upset with all the discrimination that he does with people in the apartment complexes. Yes. I was like, yo, this is really real. And so look, I'm gonna do this because I got to, because I do have like this side of me that's going like, yo, this was a private conversation. You mentioned this before, but not only was it private, but it wasn't discrimination. It was him being racist as hell for real. Let's own that. I can say that with absolute surety. He was being racist. He is racist. He has a track record of being racist. But it was a private conversation, and he didn't do anything with discrimination. Now, if you can demonstrate to me that he's not paying his players top dollar, that he's doing discriminatory acts in the Clipper organization, now I think now it seems to me that this is now something that's an actionable offense. However,
it gets back to the point that, one, as a society, we no longer understand what the real definition of racism is, what racist is, and what discrimination is, and what those roles play in our society. We have no idea. We've forgotten those conversations because of the 20 to 30 years of silence after the civil rights movement. It gets played out right here in popular culture for all of us to see. And guess what? The NBA did nothing progressive. They just did what they should do in the tide of society today.
True that. True. You know what? That's it. That's all we got to say.
We can go home.